Lawless.
Yeah.
Late 80s, 90s, Lawless.
Used to lift doors are open and somebody took the lift and scrapped it in. You know, it was just...
What? Say that again.
They just scrapped the lift. Somebody got in there, they jammed the lift up, they just unscrewed the lift and took it to the scrapyard. Yeah. Fridges had come flying off the balconies because they put it in. Yeah, it was just
crazy.
Yeah, it was just a fun, you know, especially as like a 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid. You know, it was it was interesting. Yeah, that was even pre-graffiti.
Killa Kela podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Street Culture TV.
Instagram UK Frontline.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Killa Kela podcast live and direct. We're in central London and serves you right. With 600 plus podcasts, welcome to the world of street culture. And thank you kindly for all your support and giving and trading, passing on important, vital intel into the podcast, taking it far and wide. Over 600, you know what to do. Okay, people, our sponsors, the mighty GKNIFTYHEADS, have 10,000 play-to-earn GraffPunks NFTs to give away. Get ready as London's white trash goes blockchain digital with Bitcoin Cash tokens locked into them to claim. Get yourselves over to the website GKNIFTYHEADS.com and play to earn now. We're in Manchester again. It's a long weekend for Kels. He's in the building. Suspect packages, hold tight. We're in the vicinity right now, as you can see. If you're not watching, turn your peepers onto this. We have a gentleman that harks back many, many moons, not just in Manchester, but around the area, you understand. Getting about in all sorts of manners, whether it be graffiti, music, now tattooing, books, and more. Ziel, inside the place. How are we, my brother?
Yeah, man, good.
Yeah.
Enjoying the Manchester sunshine for
yes,
a change.
Can't believe it.
T-shirts on and not big jackets.
Can't believe the luck. I wish it would come with me to London because it certainly wasn't down south.
Yeah, no. You have to come to Manchester more than you might bring it with you.
Yeah. It's a good luck charm. I swear to God. And my luck is just getting better and better. Ziel, you are one of the original proprietors. I've got the book here, which is I know you're giving them out now because he's sold enough. You understand?
Yeah.
But there is some incredible archive in just one publication alone. Talk me through this book. Sketches.
I just started. I had pictures everywhere, so I had some on iPads, some on laptops, some on hard drives, some physical photos. I just had them all over, so I thought I'd just collect them all into one pile at the end of the day. But when I was looking online with doing the tattooing, I started learning how to paint with a spit, like we do traditional flash. Yeah. So I put some together to it, and I thought I'd make a book with them. And the idea was, you get a book, and so instead of going into a tattooist and you pick a picture off the wall, you'd have a book on the counter with tattoo designs in it. The line work could be drawn up. So that was the idea, but I didn't know how to do a book. So I looked online. There was a website I could just upload things, you know, simple, put a picture in, print it, and they'll send you a book. So I'd done that, and I think it cost 20 quid to get a copy, so it's quite good.
Yeah.
You know, just there's
handy
online sites now, just for yourself, you know, it's 20, 30 quid for a book.
Yeah, big up Nuzo. I think Nuzo does that as well.
Right, yeah,
he does that. He does that sort of thing as well. Yeah, so saves on the old photos being everywhere.
Yeah, and it's just nice. You know, it saves you, you know, you can either give them out or, you know, just a nice thing to have. So when I was collecting all my pictures, because I'd done that simply, I thought I'd do all my pictures in a book, like my graph stuff. But then I couldn't, the online sites, it was too dear to put all that in, so then I had to source a book printers, and you know, it was in Leeds. I went to one first. I had a load of hassle with one of them about they didn't understand what a border was, so they sent me pictures and cropped all the things off, and I had this big.
You're kidding me?
Yeah, mate. I sent them. But on fair play to them, I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So they was trying to help me out. But
blind leading blind kind of thing.
Yeah, but they were book printers, but I said, can you centre the pictures so that there's a border around them, which, you know, but they didn't. They just chopped all half of them off, so then I had an argument of what a border went, and it just... Yeah, so then for this one, I found somebody through a friend that was printing some books. So I went to them, and they were wicked. I got a friend to actually lay the book out rather than sending it to a printers and putting it on their tours. So yeah, that's how I got to with that, really.
Can't underestimate the work that goes into these things.
Yeah, that's yeah, and I'm a smoker. Do you know what I mean? So there's a couple of pieces doubles in there. Do you know? How do you lay like hundreds of pictures out? And I can't remember painting half of them. I can't remember who I've painted with some of them. Do you know? It's
Well, when does art stop being art? Let's just, this is, I mean, some amazing pieces in there.
Yeah,
And it
nice
goes
one.
back to the whole, 90s generation of graph. Manchester saw a lot of action, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was a busy little city.
But you were coming in, weren't you?
I'm from Rochdale, which is, I think it's 13, 14 miles north of Manchester. So we're sort of, if you're driving from where we are, you go over the hill, 10, 15 minutes and you're in Yorkshire. You know, so that's how sort of close we are. That's why we don't speak like Manx. You know, we're sort of borderline bumpkins. You know, so but yeah, it was nice up there. You know, we got moorland, so I can walk for 10 minutes from my house. I'm on the moors. I can get a train into the city centre in 15 minutes. You know, Rochdale's got its problems. Probably heard of it in the news for all the wrong reasons. But there's a strong community there. There's always been creatives there. Back in the day we had old mills. You know, there was a lot of mills in Rochdale that weren't getting used. So there was a certain amount of time they were empty. So if you went as a musician or an artist, you could just go in and say, you know, can I have this? And they don't give it you, but you get it for hardly anything, you know. So there was creative spaces going on. So yeah, it was a nice little, you know, there's obviously ball bags and whatever else goes on, but there was always a creative community there.
Incubation spaces to
and that's what I think's sad now, how they're knocking them all down and they're building fancy buildings, soulless buildings, and then they're doing that. So all these creative little hubs, they're sort of disappearing, you know, which, you know, all the towns are out, I suppose all the towns in. Well, I suppose mill towns, because there was a lot of mills and big spaces to do that. I suppose if you're a village and you've never had a mill, you know, they probably ain't got them. But yeah, them little hubs, you know, they create scenes.
Kids get bored.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do?
Vandalise buses.
Yeah. Now you come to mention it. This was marked an era-defining moment of graph in the northern quarters here. Manchester definitely held the flag for a lot of the activity. I'm presuming that because you was Rochdale, getting on them buses were key. Getting your name on those buses.
Well, I mean, we had our own scene, like Form was saying. We had quite a few good writers down there. Do you know, there's Herbie painted a piece down there, Vapor Caper piece. Folks will know it. Mate, that piece will stand against any piece to this day. Do you know? And that was done with shit paint, shit nozzles. I think about 87, 88, possibly. Jesus. I might be wrong, but you know what I'm saying? Amazing. Do you know, Carl was painting the spot we had down there. Carl, you know, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, cool.
Do you know, all these early spots. Leo, Rapid Art piece down there. Do you know, there was... As a kid, do you know, a lot of because we was coming in, and like you say, you couldn't just ring somebody or there was little things you could go about. You didn't know you were a writer. I'm even meeting people now who was like, what, you wrote? And I'd see them here and there, do you know, but they just never said what you were doing on the side. Do you know, and it's like 20 years later, you were talking, I found out there was a train painted, I think it was one that last on the news or something. It was early, it was on the old Bury line. It was the last survivor. It's one of Tenzi's mates who I know, and it was only last week. You know, I see him when I go out. You know, it's not my close bar, but he's a close bar, So I see him out, lovely fella. He put it on he don't go online often, but he just put this in last survivor piece OCR that he'd done it. I was like, wow, you know, I'm not about this guy. It's, you know, so it's even the things like that because you kept it under wraps a bit. You know, you didn't really advertise it to out of the circle, did you? In a sense,
it's that era, and I guess this is why I'm keen to document it because things only come out of surface because of speculative, did it or didn't it? Or someone outwardly says it, and it's like...
or you'd see somebody and now everybody wears a backpack. Back then they didn't, you know, you see somebody with a backpack, then you start seeing, have they got a bit of paint on their pants? And then you sort of follow him and, you know, you're just like, I wonder if he's a writer. And then you sort of follow him for a bit.
You be then.
You're probably like a weirdo as well, but, you know, but that's how it was. You know, you didn't advertise. I was saying this to a younger friend that I've got, Sees, and I was talking to him about it, and I said, back in the day, you didn't really tell people outside of circles that you did graffiti, because they looked at you like you were an house burglar or you were just an horrible little shit. Do you know, well, now you tell people you paint graffiti, they just ask you about a lot of questions, they love you, and, you know, it's a different response, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, years ago, you didn't want you didn't want to be judged. Well, not that you didn't want to be judged like that, you just couldn't be asked telling them. Same as going out raving. Do you know, that was an underground scene at one point, weren't it? You know, nobody knew, you know, the early days.
Everything was was and perpetuated by media as being, you know, if it ain't, and I guess this is our generation where this, you know, comment comes from. But almost, what's the word? Demonized.
Yeah. Acid house parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I look at it, it's the old stereotypical thing, but like, I used to remember going out to clubs when I was younger, not rave kind of clubs, and it was just bottling, stabbings, you had to wear a suit and a tie. You know, I'm never into wearing a suit and a tie. You used to go out, you didn't have shoes on, so you used to have to put your black socks over your trainers to try and get, you know. But this was all to get in clubs. Well, now it changed, everybody goes out, you know, just, like I say, it changes. Yeah. Like.
The 90s, and we did have a quick chat before we got on camera. Khalifs.
Yeah.
One of my favourite UK rap. Big up the Khalifs. Yeah. And they was writers as well, right?
Yeah, they come from Dale, Chalk. I've not seen Chalk for a good while, but yeah, he was a good friend.
Mind blown.
Yeah, I'd spoke to, I think it was Tufan the other week, a lady that I tattoo. She just, we all talk bits of hip-hop and something. She's, I think she's Indian. So we were just chatting and that, and then she's I didn't know she was friends with him, but then she just rang me up. She says, "Oh, he's here. Do you know him?"
Stop it.
So then we just started having a chat on the phone and that. Yeah. So apparently he's still busy doing bits here and there in Manchester.
Incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's like I say, especially from Rochdale, it was like this looked like sort of the city kids looked down on us in Rochdale. You know, we could hold our own with, you know. But it was nice to have them into that, and then he was getting a bit of success as well, weren't they, and stuff. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I think they had a lot of this hassle, you know, music business hassle, and they sort of disbanded, you know, so it was just it's a shame, you know, standard, isn't it?
Yeah, it was almost like, and this is something that doesn't get documented from a grime, maybe not even from a jungle drum and bass perspective, certainly not a garage one, is the surgence, the call to arms, there's the word, call to arms of, you know, from me personally, I don't care if you speak an American accent, UK accent, I don't care what kind of beats per se it is. If you're doing something that pushes the fucking dial, which it was at that time.
Yeah. Everybody, sometimes with that, a lot of people dog you for it, call it shit.
Yeah.
It's just, you just don't get it yet.
No.
Do you know?
No. Because then later, this is what blossoms into different
genres. Then they
genres.
hark back, and that's the mad thing. Then they hark back and they say, it's like the Sex Pistols gig in Manchester.
Yeah.
How many people was at that Sex Pistols gig that claimed to be there? There were probably about 8 people. There's probably about 5 million people in Manchester. I was at that Sex Pistols gig, and they weren't, and they probably were interested in that then. But then, because it's cool, I was there, and it's the same as when you've done stuff. You might diss them at the time for doing a new style or try to carve a different path out, and until you come to everything takes a process, doesn't it? You know, so you can start off with an idea. The idea's there, but it's not honed. No. Five or six products in, pieces, tunes.
That's right.
It's coming together, and then people start to understand it. They can't
it takes
comprehend
time,
it,
doesn't it?
And that's where some people are good. If you get somebody that understands where you're going with it, that's, you know, there's people in music and business that can spot that in somebody, and they can hone it for you.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah, but you have to give them flowers correctly.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Where did it start with Ziel? Where did it begin, my brother? How did it? Who? What was the catalyst?
I'd have to say punk daubings on walls. Punk's not dead, and just shit with paintbrushes, really. Yeah, and there was a big set of flats up from here, Ashy Valley. That's been knocked down now. That was. You won't know Hume. It was like Hume. It was like the Wild West.
No, I know Hume because it was in graphitism.
Back in the day, yeah.
Really?
It was like that.
Because that was like a punk.
It was very similar. Yeah, so you could just like Ashy Valley was one of them. Nobody'd have a flat on there. So basically, I mean, I'll tell you a documentary after it's on YouTube.
Oh, God,
Hardcore Valley, it's called. If anybody wants to watch it.
Wow.
Well, that's on there, and that just basically turned into you could turn up, kick a door in, that was your gaff. So obviously I had a lot of big squat community, a lot of punks, you know. So it was like Hume.
Oh God, take me there.
Yeah. Well,
let me go. Please take me back.
It was
really no. I just want to know.
I had my first whitey up there.
Did you? No.
So
maybe not.
But he's gone.
Speaking from experience.
Well, if you've come off the motorway, listen, there's a McDonald's there now. They've knocked it all down. They flattened it all. But it was the same kind of thing as Hume, but that didn't have the visual artistic. It had punks and bands, but it didn't have a lot of graffiti like Hume had back in the day. Yeah, so it was a bit of a white. It's the only place my mum used to tell me not to go as a kid. You dare not go up there. Yeah, so.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so obviously what did I do? Obviously as a kid I went up there.
Lawless.
Yeah.
Late 80s, 90s,
Yeah,
lawless.
used to lift doors are open and somebody took the lift and scrapped it in. You know, it was just...
What? Say that
They
again.
just scrapped the lift. Somebody got in there, they jammed the lift up, they just unscrewed the lift and took
Sell
it
it
to the
with scraps?
scrapyard. Yeah. Fridges have come flying off the balconies because they put it in. Yeah, it was just
Crazy.
Yeah, it was just a fun, especially as like a 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid. You know, it was it was interesting. Yeah, that was even pre-graffiti.
Really?
So yeah, that's how I got into stuff. I just seeing that kind of artwork about, really, just the idea of just writing on stuff. I was always doodling. I mean, obviously my name's Lee, so it was just a quite easy bubble letter. So I used to write on things anyway. Then it went through all like madness, two-tone. So there was little, sitting when you're all sat drinking and smoking, just drawing with a pen on the wall, and I think because Lee's an easy one, it's easy to do quick. So then obviously...
Well, my real name's Lee, so I can concur. I can concur. It is,
nice and easy, can't forget it, can you?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it sort of went from that. I got into just doing that, and then obviously at school, Style Wars came out, the Subway Art, so then it was just everybody started doing it. I'd always not doing graffiti, but I was just writing on shit, so that was like, that's, right on my street.
Back,
yeah. So, and then that was through school, and then I think I did it for a couple of years after school, left school in 90, but by then, warehouses was fully going, and then I sort of drifted that way, a party animal, I just started like partying, so I didn't paint for years, then I went DJing in Cavos for 3 years.
You were out of town for a bit, weren't you?
Yeah, then moved to Tenerife for I think 8 years. So I did that, and then when I came back here, that's when I sort of started getting more back on it. I'm hyperactive. I like to do things. There's not a lot to do here unless you've got to just go out that. So
You're the first person I talked to up here that has, this connectivity between the punk scene, and the. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I used to go to ADM quite a bit. Holland, Amsterdam. Yeah. So they're like big free living spaces. Yeah. So I just like that vibe of community, and I don't like where the world is. The fact of I don't do it as much, but if I do a tattoo or do a painting, I'm happy for you to give me your services. And just like I'll do things for somebody.
Oh, like a communal kind of
swap,
co-op,
job swap, so we're not exchanging money. We're doing, so
I love that as well.
Yeah, it's just a nice way to work.
I really do.
Yeah. It's like, say if I made a track, you put some vocals on it, I'll draw the artwork.
Yeah.
And it's it's rather than saying, right, I'll give you 100 quid to do this.
People misunderstand that. People got this idea that all art, things that you create and deliver, has to yield commodity. Now, because everyone needs to live, but the truth is there is this trade-off, and especially now, the way Spotify dibs its percentages, the way graffiti...
Everybody's got the teeth into a bit,
that's right. So that cooperative has always been part of the culture. The difference is, I guess, is that now it's come to a commercial place. Everyone's on a paranoia thinking, which is fair, because that's true. There are people that are making money off of it. But it's all about knowing your community, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's lost. This is one of the things that I think with things like graffiti, so I guess like hip-hop, for the fact of it was having a drum machine, there was things there that got you into stuff, and it wasn't... You didn't get into that thinking, right, I'm going to go and write my name on walls because I'm going to make money. You just did it for the love of it, the buzz of it, getting a chase, or just having a laugh with your mates, or whichever way it was. Now, kids, I don't know whether this is the times or cause of the internet or whichever way it is, but kids come through, and they're the same with tattooing. They're not even left school, and they're going to college or uni to get to be a spray paint artist, to get to work off spray painting, Some of them are amazing at what they do, but I think it's quite sad. They'll never understand that without the money. I mean, obviously there's a lot of young kids that do it, like they do illegal stuff. So
big up.
Big up.
Anyone,
but there is because of, like you say, the internet. they understand they can do this, and it's a job. I suppose it's a job option. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a job option when you started doing stuff.
No.
You might, it was ideal, but that wasn't in the forefront of your mind.
It couldn't be.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because it doesn't, it ebbs and flows all the time.
And going back to you lose your, if you're just doing it, then you're looking at what's selling in the market. Well, then you're not, you know, you're going to do this. Like we're saying about Caliphs, they weren't really replicating vocally American acts, which a lot of rappers at the time was.
Yes.
Same as like Jest and stuff when they started coming out, English accents and stuff. Obviously, it took off and it was sick.
Yeah.
But probably 5 years before, they might not have attempted that, or somebody might not have the marketing because you thought you had to sound American. Or same with graffiti, it had to look American. Well, now, you know, it doesn't, does it?
Jess is a great case study because obviously, you know, he's up north. Well, was up north. When I first met him, me and him were about, I think I was about 15 and he was like 16. We were pen pals.
Yeah.
He used to live in Crawley ways where I used to.
Hip Hop Connection.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah,
If you know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you know the whole pen pal thing. But I remember what he was doing with AM, because it was AM and Jest, and AM was the producer. Do you remember this?
Scribbler, I've got his tracks.
Yeah.
Well,
Crazy, but it was so forward thinking. The idea of like your own northern accent being. For me, it was
the
like, let's
forefront.
fucking because the beats are fucking having it. It was just everything.
Well, he was, do you know the Scribbler, the album cover? Well, that's a friend, Spy Mad, one of the Yorkshire gang, DNA. So that's why I used to paint quite. So instead of going to Manchester, I used to go over there into Yorkshire.
Yes.
So then that's when I used to knock
Yeah,
about
yeah,
with
yeah,
them.
yeah, with them lot.
But I just wanted me.
What? You used to knock about with Wano and all them lot?
With Spy Mad, Racker, all them lot, yeah.
Yeah.
But Spy Mad's done Jess' album, his cover.
That's
so then
right, that's right.
I used to, one of my tattoo studios when I used to share with a guy called Jods and Tyler Daly. So I shared the studio with them.
Big up, Tyler.
Yeah, big up Tyler and Jods.
Yes.
So then this is what I love about it. I don't recognise people. I'm useless. So I was in studio. You know, obviously they had a few heads come through as well. So I just come out. I'd left one night. And I'd seen this guy come in, big beard, just went to studio, full leaving, you know, I'm a bit of a piss taker with a few split leaving. Had a bit of banter, fucking. I was taking a piss, something, you know, just having a bit of a laugh in a way. So then I've got home, you know, and I love Jest. Got home, put Facebook on, looked on it, and one of the young mates, Rids, put a picture up, stood with Jest. Can't believe I just met Jest in the studio.
Fuming.
I'd met him, I didn't even know it was him, I just had a crack with him.
Fuming.
You know, but I like that, because it's not like, I'm not feeling intimidated because I've listened to him for ages. I've met him. I've met him on a nice level. Yeah, so he was the same bloke. But that's how I found out he was good friends with Spy Mad, who did his album come from school. Yeah, so that's how I made the link. With
An artist in his own right as well, Jess.
Great
illustrator, great
sick.
graph writer.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. It's important, isn't it? You know, well, I feel it is anyway. The fault lines of hip hop, punk, the street culture.
Yeah.
Harking back.
Working class art.
Yeah, working class art.
Yeah.
Warhol.
All over the world.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
It's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that intricacies, the fault lines crossing like that.
Yeah. And even the fact of, if you've got a load of money, I guess, you can buy paint, you can buy guitars, you can buy drum machines. Yeah. If you've not got anything, you make what you've got work, which in a sense creates a new sound, a new look. Do you know, or you're going to go out and, you know, you might only be able to nick paint that's got shit nozzle, so that's how your piece is going to look out there.
Yeah, that's
You've got to make it work somehow or another, which pushes you into a different style, or you know, or you can just enjoy just squirting it and not giving a shit.
Yeah,
you know, it's whatever you choose to do.
Well, it goes back to two turntables and a mic. And I know it sounds cliche now, but with restriction comes creativity.
Yeah, it does, because you've got
resistance.
Yeah, something to push back on. Yeah.
Who were your influences, graph-wise?
Leo, I'll shout Leo straight out. Big up Leo. Herbie, as I said. Buck and Hazer. Buck and Hazer from
These are
Manchester.
names. These are new names. Just send
well, it's Buck and Hazer probably formed. You know,
ain't Googleable.
Fucking this is part of. There was a garage in Rochdale, Ann Street Garage. It had a piece of theirs, Andrew and two characters. Mate, still to this day, one of my favourite things. Do you know, and this, it was, like as I was saying, coming to Manchester, so I didn't know a lot of these heads, like Demo. You know, I seen his stuff years later till I met you, because I didn't knock about in Manchester. His heads kept popping up, and he's one of them. Just booking it. So I got so I've been getting pictures for this book, the new book, like
New book.
Well, I'm going to put I'm hoping to put the full history of Rochdale graffiti that I can actually get my hands on into a book. But then I'm seeing all these pieces that are painted that are, vague memories from back in the day, stuff I've not seen.
Wow.
Buck and Hayes are actually painting the piece that I loved. Do you know? Yeah, so and two super,
Wow.
and two super.
You got pics of it?
Yeah, and two super cool guys as well. Do you know what I mean? That was one Ziel, and I've got a big up look. Do you know what I mean, brother? Do you know what I'm saying? You see that about Manchester?
You won't be able to see that with this table being. There we go.
And there's one for Prime. Prime
Yeah,
busy from up
absolutely.
here.
People are
Yeah,
Hawaii,
but yeah, Luck was the man, mate.
Yeah.
Super cool guy, and yeah, king of street furniture without a doubt. Yeah, you walk around now, and one thing I loved about it, don't paint. Never been interested in painting pieces. No interest. Still loves it, but mate, you walk about now, you know his name, and it just be pen tags.
Dude.
And you'll just start spotting them. There's one of them things until you start spotting them.
Bombers are,
Yeah.
but bombers for me, they're a little world of their own.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like the way they can be personal. You can be sitting on the toilet, and all of a sudden you see, just for you, this little tag
Yeah.
hidden there.
Yeah.
And then they go fucking full ball with a fat cat.
Yeah.
I love bombers.
See,
man.
he only uses pens, I don't even think I've ever seen him tag with a fat cap. He's done a few tags with
Really?
cans, yeah, but he's old school.
I love that shit.
Old school, yeah, it's what interested, not in a negative way, but that was just what he did, what he enjoyed doing. Always in music, mate. He was a music don. Every time I went and gig with friends, I was lucky enough to get backstages and all that stuff. Every time I walked in, Luke stood there, mate. He could get him water just because he was that much of a busy man round town, friendly, knew every doorman, knew all the clubs, knew all the music, mate, he was just everywhere, so always puts a smile on your face when you bump into him in there, you just turn around, he stood there grinning, you'd be like, yes, good night, Yeah, beautiful.
What was it like coming in from, I'm speaking, you're my conduit, because for me, in 2025, coming into Manchester and seeing things on the ground, it's an energy. There really is an energy.
Yeah.
Like this. It's almost like it's got its own fortress, and fuck the rest of his, because it just feels like it's its own thing.
Yeah, I think it sort of is like that. It's I think it's because we're proud enough to, we don't need anybody else. We've got everything we need in the city. We do appreciate all the things, but as that standpoint, Manchester, art, music, fashion, hold its own in anywhere in the world, So, and I think people around here feel that, even though I'm from Dale.
Well, yeah. So, what was it like from back in the day coming into
used to get
Manchester?
shit. Yeah, used to get
Really?
shit.
Used to get
Because well, it's the same as once you see what you're doing and they can see you getting up and stuff, it's like you say, it's a bit of a different, you get a little in, don't you? But in the sense, Manchester used to be naughty.
Really?
I've been in clubs when like all the stuff with the Hacienda and all the problems, Dome and Door Wars and all that was going on. There was a night in New Dawn, Jungle.
Door Wars,
yeah. It was all with certain gangs around here wanting to run doors, but the start of ecstasy and all that. So
got you. So everything was like, got you.
It was all the reason it's Manchester, that kind of thing.
Got you.
But we was in one in New Dawn. It used to be Jilly's Rock World. They had a night in there, and we'd gone in. There was some guy had been leathered with an hammer in the toilets. So, the next thing, it was like a rave night, so at the time as well, everywhere I was travelling the country going to raves, there was never any real problems. So it was I was like, fucking hell. The next thing, all the doormen went running out because the other side gang had come to the doors or something. And then this other gang one must have been better armed than them. So all these doormen come scattering in, running over. It was just carnage. So I weren't used to seeing that at like rave sort of nights, So it was like fucking wild in here. But that was Manchester, the Havana Club, just over there. There's documentaries online, but they reckon that was the one that sort of stopped a lot of the trouble in clubs in Manchester, because what they did, they put at the door, so you walked, they had like it was like full on jungle, so Brocky, Det in there. There were a lot of,
Nicky Black Market.
Doc Scott was in there.
Big up Doc Scott.
Yeah, bad boy.
Big up all them names for that man.
And you got in, you literally, because they got you into the club, so when you went down these stairs, there was a mirrored window there, so you couldn't see the woman serving you, so you couldn't threaten them or see you outside. So then there was protected. Then you walked up, and it was like a football stadium. There had a turnstile and a camera. You had to take your hat off, look at the camera, and you could go through the turnstile going in. So there was keeping.
Jeez, that's militant, though.
Yeah, so they was technically keeping you safe from trouble. But when you come down a club and you're off your nut, and you're like, mate, it's fucking on top in here. You know, it was always a sick night. But you know, and that was, you know, gladly that didn't take over as an
idea.
thing. You know, it was hanging. But they had some sick nights in there, like early jungle nights. So yeah, it was good in there. But like I said, it was a bit intimidating to the point when you were going in there. You forgot when you got in there in 10 minutes, but when we were coming down the first time, like, wow, it's on top.
Yeah. Almost felt like you were going through an airport.
Yeah. Well, like some weird football thing where you knew you were going to get. Yeah, it was just it was bizarre for that kind of night. You know, like
Imagine being a DJ and you're walking through that. You know, you just travelled from wherever you took, and you get there and you're like, well, I'm coming into this club. This should be a vibe. And then you walk through, it's like turnstiles. Wow. Now this does go back to Nicky Black Market and Brocky's podcast, which I've had on, and they speak a similar instance. Graff has always been running parallel with the musical arts, and nothing more harmonious than like hip hop and jungle, right?
Yeah, man. I'm a jungle head. That's where it comes from. Jungle dub. You know, I love hip hop. Like I say, I come from punk, heavy metal. Do you know I've still got the. Yeah, that's in me. So I do love hip hop, but you know, you speak to somebody and they're just hip hop and that. You know, I can play sets and I just go massive range. You know, I just like a heavy bass. Anything with heavy bass. And,
bit of music with guts.
Yeah, and saying something as well. I've been listening to a lot of like Australian punk of recent, you know. I mean, I'm on the Sniffers, is the obvious one. Yeah, obviously. I seen them in Manchester not long back.
Were they good?
Yeah, they were pretty sick live, to be fair. Yeah, it was in I can't remember the venue, but it's like an old theatre. So as you go in, they've got the stage, they've got a downstairs, and then they've got like the old school balcony.
The Ritz, Manchester Ritz.
Might be the one in the centre where you've got like an old kind of churchy cathedral looking. Yeah.
Well, comment below, you know, because I'm probably getting my geographics wrong here. But
no, you're probably telling me I'm bad with directions, man. I'm useless. Yeah.
No, I played there, but Ritz is it's like theatre. It's like a theatre.
No, not the Ritz. Sorry, it's in the city centre. One of them probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like an old school cathedral basically.
Really?
So it was quite. It's a top venue. But yeah, seeing them in there was quite good because it sort of like it had like an air of atmosphere because it was like kind of old as well. They put on a sick show. Yeah.
Doesn't it? Punk also has a skateboard culture, tattoo culture.
Yeah. I always say this. I like fuck you art.
Fuck you art.
Yeah, it's got a fuck you beat or a fuck you art. I like it. You know, I like that, and that's what's sort of missing. I think.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a what's the word? It's a symptom.
Yeah.
It's a symptom, and almost it's a bit like social media in itself. If you ain't the first one to do it, then you ain't in the next hybrid of what it is.
Yeah, the world's changed, hasn't it? You know, and how things are put out there and how you, like you said, the media promotes things to you. And even the scary way that like Facebook promotes things and politics and all that shit. I don't watch TV, so that's one thing. But now I'm finding I've not had a TV for like 30 years. But now I'm finding Facebook's worse than the TV. Do you know the amount of adverts and the manipulation, the way they post things? It's. You know, as long as you understand it.
No, you have to tell the on that note. You have to tell the story about your TikTok experience because that's actually very. this is a case study in itself.
I always seen TikTokers for like little kids, but I was having a bit of a promotion here at the studio, so I'd got a work phone, so I don't have to deal with it. So I thought I'd put TikTok on to see what's going. So I just put a video outside the studio. So I was just videoing the trees and a little fly. I was just fucking about. So I've posted that and I got like 700-800 views. I was like, oh, that's fucking nuts. You know, shit, who's going to watch that? So next thing I thought, what else am I going to do? And I was talking to a friend about how crap it is and people watch any old shit. So I literally went in my room, turned the tap on, videoed the tap for about 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and just stopped it and posted that. Got fucking 800 views and 4 likes. Who the fuck's liking a video on a running tap? But now, you know, they were probably thinking something's going to happen at the end of it. Yeah,
it's modern art.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm ahead of my game. But yeah, what I might start doing though is doing some shit like that and just putting a little tag at the end of it or putting a little advert. So that's
Yeah.
So I can't take it seriously after that. I'm like, this is just a piss take.
It goes back to the restriction comes creativity sort of thing.
Yeah.
What we got? Tap, water.
What can I do with a tap and water and TikTok? Yeah.
Talk to me about this, because when I see what's going on in this book, right, I am seeing nothing but styles upon styles upon styles, and a lot. And I understand that it's patchwork. A lot of it.
The basically style over technique. That's my basis. Do you know? It's instead of having like a lot of fancy colours and techniques, style beats it every day. Do you know? And it's so I don't like.
I love that. I've got to show you this.
I don't like painting the same piece twice. I have done it of recent.
Here, look, that there. If you can see it, completely different to what you'll see on another page, and that in itself is like, well, you could work that into a whole style of its own.
That's just quick bombing, you know. So that's like 10 minutes.
Just slick, man. Like I love that. And you can tell the energy of it. But,
and I'm sort of known for. See, they were like one-liners.
Yeah.
I'm sort of known for them sort of things there.
Yeah.
So
okay, can we put that
they were saying there was like people say
different
organics.
Styles. Like that.
Well, that started from scribbling. You know, when you were a kid and you scribble whirlwinds. You're scribbling whirlwinds. So I just come up with this thing. I thought I'll just do a tag, and then I'll just do a whirlwind around the tag. So then it evolved into.
But you see where I'm coming from in terms of the extremes that you're.
Even
that there. So
yeah. What about him?
Just different.
Yeah. Well, it comes back to going drawing, doesn't it? You know, some people don't draw a lot. I sit drawing, or I'll come up with an idea. It might be one arrow on something. This is where it comes to like biting or being inspired. Sometimes I'll just see an arrow on a piece or something in an advert or just something that makes me think, oh, I wonder if I could do that way.
Yeah,
so
but I think the point I'm making is that's not normal. Like the levels in which that you're able to reinterpret whatever you're thinking and put it just so happens I went like that today.
Yeah.
Not a lot of artists can do that.
Yeah, nice one. Respect. Because I don't see. This is what a lot of people said to me. Sure, you've not got ADHD, you? And I said, well, I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a piece of my ADHD.
I used to work with kids in care, and I see them, they give them loads of Ritalin and dose them up, and I took it as a fact of if my brain didn't work the way it did,
then it wouldn't.
I wouldn't be doing anything. I don't watch TV. I'm either making music, painting, drawing, tattooing, doing something creative, basically. If I didn't have the way my brain worked, I'd be sat watching telly, and that's I couldn't imagine anything worse than that.
You've got an active mind, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think some people, and you get branded as it. I mean, obviously there is a problem. Some people do need help, like medication or whatever they need to do. But I sort of enjoy it, to be fair.
Do you?
Yeah, embrace it. It is what it is, isn't it?
Well, in a way, there's no choice but to, right?
No, that's what I mean. I like taking drugs anyway. I just don't like pharmaceutical drugs. So
what gets in the way of that? What gets in the way of people?
Yeah.
No, that's the question. What gets in the way of that mindset? Is it girls? Is it beer fear in the morning at 5 a.m.? Is it work? What is it?
Fear of having a job, a proper job. I don't have a job. You don't have a job, do you? We do what we love.
Yes.
My fear is having to go back to a job. Yeah. I've never done for 30 years.
But that's what Arrow said to me. Arrow said to me on his podcast, he goes, because he's known me for a very long time.
Yeah.
And he says
Heavy Artillery.
Yeah, big up Arrow. Heavy Artillery.
Your track as well. I was listening to that earlier.
Oi, come on.
I was like, is that where he got it from?
No, yeah. That's a question, Arrow. That's a question for you. Did you get Heavy Artillery from my
another on that? I'll have to give a massive shout to Arrow. I have so much respect for him. Yeah. Busy, prime. He used to deal with graffitis and we'd send pics. And I knew he knew Arrow, he was friendly. And when Busy passed away, he drove up from wherever he was and he came to his funeral. Fucking full respect, mate. He drove up from Brighton or wherever. Yeah. He knew, I don't think they were best of mates, they was obviously friends, writer's friend in that circle. Yeah. And the fact that he drove up from wherever he was to his funeral.
No, he's a real one. Arrow's a fucking real one.
Full on. And you know the mad thing, we'd gone from where the cremation was, and it was one long road in Burnley, and then where we was having the wake was up the road, and we've come out of where we've had the cremation. So most of us walked up the road. Arrow drove up the road. Mate, and if he's on, he's still got his pictures, send it me. I've lost it. But basically, he drove up the road and he got there and he went, mate, I've just seen Busy walking up the road. And if you know Busy, he always wore a blue jacket. He wore you could recognise him miles away, mate. He was on that fucking road. We didn't. We'd walked up this road. He drove up it. Busy was walking down it and he took a picture.
What?
So he wasn't. We'd not seen him. Yeah, bizarre. Yeah, bizarre. But kind of nice because he was there with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Wow.
Yeah, and Arrow took a picture, sent us a picture of it.
Stop it.
Yeah, bizarre, that, innit? Might have been totally random guy, I don't know, but we'd not seen this cat walking down the road when we walked up.
Wow.
Yeah, weird.
Big up, Arrow.
Yeah, big up.
Big up, Arrow. Yeah, he said to me, there's a builder's job back for you in 1993, and that has always kept me...
Yeah.
I've always considered that. It's like, what's the other option?
Yeah. That's it. What would I do? You know, what would I do? I think I'd rather be homeless and just bum around than get a job in a warehouse.
Yeah.
I'd just be.
In fact, let me hail it up. Big respect to everybody that is grafting.
Yeah. It's not a disrespect.
Not
it's
at all, not at all.
just the way my brain works.
There's absolutely no way.
No. I get in trouble. I
it's-
get sacked. I can't have bosses because I'm too
we're built for
wrapped up
something-
in my own head doing
Yeah,
something, and I
yeah,
just get sacked.
yeah.
So yeah, there's
You're
nothing...
lucky you got art.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, So it's like I say, 100% good to pick that up. Yeah, it wasn't a diss on that sort of work.
Not even.
Do you know,
Not even.
it's
No,
just-
I go down these fault lines all the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, the truth is that there isn't. There's a job for everyone. There's a place for everyone. There's a thing for everyone. And I think. Even at its height, when it's absolutely fucking banging and you're having a really good month, you're having a really good week, there is this ongoing tussle from an artistic point of view where you have to say to yourself, but what is it I'm doing?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
I'm just living this life, and I can understand that a lot of people that that work,
especially in this day and age,
Yeah.
it's not
It's
a
not
nice
easy.
time. It's not a nice, horrible, mate.
so it's
yeah.
almost like hand to mouth the whole time.
Yeah. Well, even from the tattooing, that's how it sort of gets. Because what's the first thing that people knock on the head?
Yeah,
Tattoos.
Of course.
Do you know? So
Yeah.
I feel it because people aren't earning. Do you know? Everybody's scraping by.
Entertainment in general just gets hit.
Yeah.
You know? But Manchester's looking good at the moment.
Yeah. It's
looking good out
looking
there.
like fucking Bristol. Do you know?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's getting.
I feel
it's
that.
getting smashed.
It's getting smashed, yeah.
Yeah.
It's looking
There's
great.
a lot of nice stuff going up. Yeah, some kids are smashing it. Big up CeeLo, Rush, Riash.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, some nice stuff going up now. Yeah, it's getting busy.
Are you proud?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's nice to see because it went a bit clean for a bit. There was like when you used to come down in '90s and stuff. Manchester was a different place. It feels safe now. Well, obviously at that age it was fun. Do you know, you get on trains, you could open doors and then get with doors, and it was just a different world. Where when you come down now, so then it got to a point. Possibly I don't know what time it is. I went away, but it seemed to change. Do you know, and it's come to this now, so it's peaceful enough to walk about in and stuff, you know. And just, to be fair, nobody seems to give a shit about painting or stuff. Just city centre's just licked up. Yeah, so...
That's the way it is.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's nice.
It's all good. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
Yeah. Piccadilly Gardens, Spice Central, yeah, get yourself down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Streets
Yeah.
of
See, that changed. That used to be quite nice gardens years ago. And then they sort of ripped all that out and put these big concrete shit walls in, and then it just seemed to attract just that people just getting sessioned there more than, you know, obviously people have a drink in there, but these days it just attracts people who just want to get fucked on spice and get up to just being a pain in the arse, basically.
It's symptomatic of inner cities, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, sadly.
What's the future, my brother? What is the future for you?
Just going to crack on. Just try and keep busy, basically. I've got a little studio space. I'm going to set up something to do some painting, some canvases. Yeah, I have a little... In Rochdale, I've got a little, like, music room somewhere I can paint. So there's a few heads in there. Shout out to Lancashire Sound System. They've got a sound system in there.
Lancashire,
1210 guy DJ with in there. So we're just always up to stuff. But we moved it all around, so I just need to set up a space to paint.
Banging.
Yeah, yes, yeah, it's a nice space. We've had it for quite a while. Same, it's in an old mill, but even that's getting gentrified now. They bought it. They've done one side up into the NHS, so that's smart as. They've put a gin distillery bar, a beer distillery bar. We're getting an indoor golf on one floor. And, yeah, they've gone nuts. And then we've got us in. Yeah, we've got us in the corner, blazing weed. So yeah, we keep getting warnings. We're going to get fucked off soon. but yeah. So that's a nice space to chill, and just try to get pictures together for this book for Rochdale. To be honest,
Fucking great.
yeah. Small Town, Big Dreams. That's what it's going to be called. Small Town, Big Dreams.
There you go. Look out for that. And how can people get this? How can people get?
It's done now.
It's done.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah. I've got about 5 left, so I like to, because I don't want to.
You don't want to flood the streets with realness.
Nah, that's it. And it comes down to it. You know, it costs a few quid to buy them, and then they sit there. Yeah. You know, they're a nice thing to have. So when I've got about 5 left, so when I run out, I might see if I can do more. But I think they're nice personal things. It gives somebody, you know, like if I go for a tattoo off a few people, just the same. It comes back to the connection. You know, even though I'm paying for a tattoo, I just like the connection that I've had. So I'll give them a book.
Yeah,
you know,
good.
Yeah, it's just a nice thing to have.
See, that's the energy we like, huh? Manny, hold tight.
Yeah, man. Up the Dale.
Be more Ziel. Be more Ziel, my brother. Fucking fantastic chatting with you.
Yeah, man. Lovely to meet you, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, big respect. Big respect.
Hey, listen, we're out like it was out of fashion, Manchester. You know what it is. Hey, we've got more on the way. Remember, crime don't pay, but neither do they. You stay lucky, people. Take care of yourselves. Easy.
Big man. Yeah.